Well, next year we will be using the second part of the Athanasian Creed as one of our confessions of faith. That actually excites me because it will enrich the next book we're going to preach through as a church, the Gospel according to Matthew. And Matthew itself deals with the humanity of Jesus incredibly deeply. Now, I was asked when we were aiming this way to examine some of the key lines of the Creed, of the Athanasian Creed, to ensure that we understand what we will be confessing when we come to that. So that is what we have been doing, and today is the last look at it. So today we come to the very last line printed on the back of your sermon notes, if you want to follow along, for the Athanasian Creed. And the last line reads this: "This is the Catholic faith. One cannot be saved without believing it firmly and faithfully." Now let's consider two crucial questions about that last line of the Athanasian Creed. The first is this: why does the Creed use the word Catholic? We use another creed, two in fact, that use the same word, and the answer is that that word is biblically born. Acts 9:31 can read this way: "Then the Catholic Church in Judea, Galilee, and Samaria had peace." The two Greek words katholu, translated as throughout in the New King James Version, is the word Catholic. The idea of one church that partakes, that all the various churches in Judea, Galilee, and Samaria were partaking of, is the idea there. Or that what we all have one faith we are part of, not many different faiths, but one faith, but we each embrace it individually. No English word can actually capture that idea well except the word Catholic. Its closest cognate is universal, but there are problems with using that, especially, you can see it here. Because a universalist faith means that all faiths are being saved. Doesn't matter what they are. We have a universalist church a little ways down. But a Catholic faith means that we all share in a common faith, but some faiths are still false. So we don't have a universalist faith. We have a Catholic faith. And that proposition leads to the second question we need to answer. Is it right for this creed to teach that lacking can send some soul to hell? Is it biblical to say salvation depends on believing the right things about Jesus? Well, in this regard, the Apostle John has a bold affirmation of that when he says in his epistle, 1 John 4:2-3, "By this you know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is not of God. This is the spirit of Antichrist, which you have heard was coming and is now already in the world." Now, John is insisting there in his epistle that confessing Jesus as God in the flesh is essential to salvation. That if someone believes in this guy called Jesus but denies that he is divine, like a Mormon, or talks about Jesus but denies that he is the incarnate God, like a Muslim, the Spirit isn't there. That's how John frames it. And framing it that way can correct a misunderstanding we often get inside the church. People can veer away from the Athanasian Creed's final statement, saying things like this: I am saved by grace, not knowledge. That my salvation of the Spirit. That the Spirit enables our minds to grasp and our hearts to believe certain propositions. Thus, if someone refuses to believe that Jesus is fully God and fully man, that intellectual error is a sign that the Spirit has not given that soul new birth. And yet, of course, there is another category we meet in life: those in which the Spirit has given new birth, and their minds are ready to grasp the truth, but they need a teacher, a preacher, or someone to be an evangelist, to take the time to share the fullness of the faith. And that is what the Gospels promise God is sending out into the world. It is what the commission of Jesus before he left is, and it reminds us of our need to confess in our own time and in our own life, and with the opportunities God has given us, our hesitancy and our unwillingness to speak of God, and as the Athanasian Creed says, firmly and faithfully to speak of him.